I couldn't get to sleep last night because I was thinking about this motor. I should be thinking about other things really. But anyway, I was up at 4 o'clock this morning and I thought of some ideas. Because I don't want too much work, because I think this is okay. I'm 99.99% sure it's okay, but there's always that nagging doubt. The compression's naturally gone up on this engine since I left it idling. Now I know a lot of people say take it for a drive. Well, that's all well and good, but out there, snow, ice and salt. I'm not taking this for a drive in salty conditions and snow. I know I crown rust proofed it, but there's no way that this car is going out in the salt. It has never seen salt in its life from Spain, and it never will do. All right, so I'm quite prepared to get this running and park it up till spring. Besides that, I need to change the tyres. I need to get a new set of tyres because they're not winter marked for Quebec. I think it's a $400 or $500 fine if you haven't got the proper winter tyres on. So I don't really want to do that. So what did I find out this morning? Well, I found out the intercooler was full of oil from the first time I started it because it was absolutely spewing oil out of the breather, as you saw here. Now, I adjusted the valve in the last video you just mentioned. I adjusted the valves at the back cylinder. I think it was a bit too loose and it wasn't opening the valve properly. Because sometimes you do get that little bit of discrepancy on valves. Anyway, they set them right. And again, I came down this morning, quarter of a turn, boom, it starts straight away. If the timing was out, if the compression was bad, it wouldn't start. And there's no glow plugs on it. I'm fairly confident it's good. But why was oil coming out of it? See, that's a bit of a mystery, isn't it? Now there could be one or two things and it's got everybody thinking what's going on. So I tried a few experiments. Like I say, what I did was I washed the intercooler out. That's why there's oil up there. I used 4 cans of brake cleaner this morning, just pushing a bit down the intake hose and letting it wash, because it was clean before, so it's like fresh oil, it's not baked on or anything like this. Washed it out till it was all nice and clean. Now the car is a complete mess. But it doesn't matter because tomorrow's going to be 10 degrees apparently, so I'm going to take it outside and wash it. So where was I? There's been some comments saying that it could be the turbo. And I did think about taking off the oil return, putting a pipe to the rocker box and watching it and observing it. So I thought, well, maybe I could be Mr. Clever Dicky and do something different. So what I did was, you'll like this, I blocked off the turbo intercooler here, left the pipes on because I thought, well, that might just get some pressure inside that turbo housing because it's got nowhere for the air to go. Its air's coming in but it's got nowhere to go. So that technically should put some more air through the seals. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just clutching at straws now. And of course, I started the car up and it was going fine. And somebody mentioned also, why don't I put a manometer on the breather? I thought, brilliant, I don't have one thus, but I had a low pressure gauge, 0 to, what is it now, 30 pounds. So when it was running, so there we are, look, 0 to 30. Now when I had it running and there was no oil coming out of that thing, it was 3 to 4 pounds. I thought, wow, great, sorted. I can cope with that, that's easy. So like a daft bugger, I revved it up just to see how much pressure would come out, you know, crankcase pressure. And then there was a hell of a bang. And oil on the floor and all over the place. And I thought, oh dear, now what have I done now? I'm so glad I did that test. See that plug? That popped out of the vacuum pump. And it's not the right plug for it. It should be like a little core plug, a little frost plug. But look, see, somebody had siliconed it in. And you can see by this half-assed state of the silicone, was it drawing air in? Because remember, I've got this blanked off at the proper port where it goes into the vac pump. Because this hit the inner wing, and of course it meant hell, like bang, bang, you know, and at 4 o'clock in the morning you're half asleep, you know, what the hell's going on here? So, I've had an idea. See what you think about this. Gary, I think it was Australia, it could be South Africa, I think he's Australian, suggested a long time ago that these vac pumps are crap. And I agreed entirely. They're the biggest piece of crap on this planet. They couldn't have picked a worse design. When they did the HS 2.8, they put the vacuum pump on the back of the alternator. It was a great idea. But there's not enough room here. And on the TD5, I think they put the vacuum pump on the front of the alternator. I think so, I can't remember, but that was a good idea. But on here, there was no room, so they put this god-awful medieval bloody vacuum pump that's been a bane of our lives. They either tick or leak. They're awful. So what Gary said, he put an electric vacuum pump on. End of story. He also put an electric fuel pump on, and he blanked off both plates, no leaks and no problems ever since. And I thought, wow, what a great idea. And what a great opportunity to convert this to an electric vacuum pump for you. Now the thing is, this is where I need a little bit of assistance from you European type people, because a lot of Audis and Volkswagens had electric vacuum pumps already fitted to them. Before it gets too cold, I might have a wander down to Kenny Upel, which is a national like scrapyard, and have a look and see if I can find one with all the kit, with all the regulators and everything, and fit it onto this. I've already got a blanking plate for it, so that's not a problem. And going back to the turbo, hell, I'll think I'll just buy a new cartridge and put it on. End of story, you know, buy a new one. Because if this is okay, well, I've still got a spare cartridge, haven't I? The thing is, and this is one of the things that's really bugged me this year, and it really has got on my nerves, I can't get on with my own projects that I want to do. I'm always doing bloody jobs for somebody else. And, you know, like YouTube and writing and things like this, I never get around to doing anything. I've been trying to make that test bed for the last 18 months. I never got it finished. If I'd have got this engine on the test bed, I could have sorted it all out in the test bed, got all the way around it and run it, made sure it was all right before putting it in. That's what I really, really want to do. And I would have found these problems. So, what that means is, if I keep that turbo and manifold together, then all I need to do is bolt a cartridge into that old manifold I took off a few weeks ago and do some repairs to it, find a new elbow for it, and the job will be done. Then we know that part of that car is right. Then I can bring it in, swap all the bits over, and over the next few weeks or months when it's cold, we can tinker around with this inside the shop and get it 100%. You know? But I don't, I mean, I know there's been lots of theories about the compression was, obviously, at the beginning it was a bit low, but it got up to nearly 400 pounds. That's higher than they said in the book. So I think it's not, I don't think it's the bores. I really don't think it is. I mean, we've had lots of theories and bits and pieces, but for it to start as it does, with no smoke, nothing out of the back, I don't know. It's clutching at straws. But is it that vacuum pump? Man, I'd be furious if it is. But if you'd noticed on that breather here, it was passing a little bit of air, like 3 pounds, 3-4 pounds, negligible. So what did I do to fix it? Well, I don't know. But I was breezing through some manuals that's on the memory stick available in the shop, going, oh, I think the offer's over now, I might extend it till Christmas. Anyway, what I found out was a way to test these cyclone separators. Now I've lost my piece of paper, just where, oh, it's here. They don't mention it in the 300 TDI book, but in the 200 TDI book, in the supplements for the Defender, right at the bottom where it says workshop manuals, here is a method of testing those units. What it's asking for is, oh, my boiler's starting up now. It's very cold today. Is to put a vacuum pump on the bottom hose and block off the two And you should hear the valve, the diaphragm, drop down. Alright, you should hear the diaphragm drop down. Bit sketchy, isn't it? Let's test it. Here is a cyclone separator that I got out of the container. It's been on the shelf. I don't know if it works or not, but according to the book of words, there should be a diaphragm in here that comes down when you apply vacuum here. Because otherwise there's pressure going in here, which will work in strange manners and means of things. So I haven't got a vacuum pump apart from my vacuum developer. But what I've got is this down here, which is my vacuum pump for air conditioning. By simply pushing a piece of silicone hose on there, we can make an adapter to go to the pump and we can test it. Right. Can you hear that? See, there's a little hole at the back there. It's drawing air through there. And it won't hold the vacuum. Right. What's this one then? This is the one off the car I've just taken off. I don't like cheating, I like to do things when you can see them. Right, so that's on there. Ooh. Now, I don't know about you, but... Oh. I can hear the diaphragm working there. Don't know if you can pick it up. That's working. Isn't that a good test? Let's turn it off. So this one here, you know what I'm going to say? Kaput. You can go down a bloody path sometimes by putting parts on that you think are good but are actually junk. So that one was no good, but this one seems to be working fine. But I tell you what I'm going to do. Seeing it's Christmas, I think I'll buy one of those Ali Sport ones and put that on. They're very good, and that will eliminate all those problems because it is a proper cyclone type thing without any meshes and diaphragms and bloody bullshit like that. And it's going to be reliable and it's going to last a long time. I know they're a bit expensive, but I think the car's worth it and I think it'll stand it. So that's the plan. Electric vacuum developer pump. Ali Sport thing and a turbo cartridge. I think it's going to be alright. Honestly, I don't think we need to take the head off this. If I took the head off this and found out the rings were perfect, you know, took all the sump off, take the rods out, take it all to bits, blah, 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 and find out it's okay, I'd be most dischuffed. I'm quite impressed that the compressions have come up. And yes, I would like to take it for a run, but I'm not going to. So it can stand here till spring. By spring, the borders will be open because this car's going to go down to the States without a shadow of a doubt. All right, you know, this will go down the States side, and they can't get up to here without all this COVID regulations and messing about because they keep changing it every 5 minutes. So I can sit this out. I don't mind. It's not going to the road. It's going to be protected from snow plows and things like this. I'm fine. So what I'm going to do, like I say, tomorrow when it's warm, take it out, get it cleaned up, and just put it away for a little while I try and gather all my bits up. But if you do know of any Audis and Volkswagens and things like this with vacuum pumps on, then I'll buy one. I'll buy a kit from wherever it is, China or somewhere like that. But I'd prefer to use something that somebody can go to a scrapyard if it goes wrong to get a replacement. That's the idea, because it's new territory for me. Oh, we covered a lot, eh? But wasn't that unusual? I've never seen a car spew oil out so much as this one when it first started up. It was it was spraying all over the top of the radiator. But as you saw in the last video, it's gone back to normal. Badly adjusted valve? I don't know. Turbo? I don't know. Cyclone separator? I don't know. But it seems to have calmed down. Anyway, less of this rambling. Let's get this boxed up and let's get it washed out tomorrow. Right, this is just a little PS, because I think this was our problem in the first place. Darren. You see down there's a vacuum pump, and you can see there's oil coming out of here. This is where this plug came out of. But look at this, I came to push it in so I could drive it to get it out. Look at that. It's nowhere near. Look at it. A good rattler that'll come out. I think, gentlemen, we may have found our problem. Those pieces of shit things are going. I'll try and find, for the moment, a core plug. I'll try and find online, see what the actual size is, and see if I can tap a plug in there for now. But that thing was as much good as breasts on a bull. Oh man, I hope I haven't wasted all that time just because of that. We shall see. See ya.